It's a free-for-all.
Was this bottle new when we started?
I don't know what this is.
Okay, that's first on the list.
This is not what I thought it was going to be.
So it wasn't even really a hot sauce.
That's spicy.
We're not breaking the law here, but we're not really following the book.
I have my Mount Rushmore of brands.
You're listening to The Hot Sauce Show, the place to meet hot sauce makers and enthusiasts. Hey everyone, welcome to The Hot Sauce Show. My name is Zach. I'm your host. Today we have Eddie and Eric from Stanky Sauce. Guys, I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here, man.
Thank you. Thanks for making the drive this morning. So what I like to do is just get right into it. How'd you guys get into making hot sauce?
Yeah, that's always my part, right? Yeah,
Always.
So, we've always talked about wanting to utilize our nickname Stanky in a brand, and this is 2018, and I'm just kind of at the dinner table with my dad just talking, and I was like, Dad, I want to put Stanky on something. And as he's eating a chip and putting some hot sauce on it, he goes, why don't you just make a hot sauce? You like hot sauce.
Yeah.
You make a hot sauce for yourself and other people will like it too. And that's how it started. I was like, and I'm going to call it Stanky Sauce.
And where does the Stanky come from?
So Stanky is just short for our last name, Stankowitz.
Oh,
It's our
okay,
childhood
awesome.
nickname. In seventh grade, I had a teacher who couldn't pronounce my last name. So when roll call came up, and I always dread it getting to me,
Yeah.
he said, Edward, I'm just to call you Stanky. Everybody broke out laughing. I said, okay. So from then on, I just kind of told teachers, hey, just call me Stanky.
Just call me Stanky.
It's going to be easy.
And then Eric came up behind you with, oh, you're the one of those Stanky brothers.
Stanky Jr. But,
Stanky Jr.
you know, we always say that, like, when kids give you a nickname, like, that's a pivotal moment
Yes.
in your life. And it's you can do one of two things. You can either embrace it or let it bother you. So we decided to embrace it and just kind of make it who we are, our persona. And we kind of try to showcase that persona within our sauces as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that so much. So where does, and we'll get more into the branding a little bit later, but so Stanky, we've explained that. That's really neat. Where does the monkey come from? Because your branding's fantastic. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but tell me about the monkey.
So the simple answer is monkey is my favorite animal.
Okay.
The little extra bonus little part of that is going to be, growing up, we used to go to Colombia every summer. We're half Colombian, half Polish. So our mom would send us to Colombia to spend time with our family, make sure that we didn't lose the language.
That's awesome.
So one year, going to Colombia for us was like an event. We felt like celebrities. We'd get to the airport and we'd have 20 family members just standing at the rail with signs like "Welcome."
Oh my gosh, I love that. And this
so-
is Colombia, the country.
Country, yeah.
Country, okay.
Barranquilla and Colombia.
Okay,
so
great.
That's where our mom's from. And that one particular time, I drove with one of my uncles. So we're just talking. They always, our uncles are so cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow it got to conversation. I said, I really like monkeys. Like, lately I really like monkeys.
Yeah.
Well, the next day he went to the black market and bought me a monkey.
What?
Yeah. So that summer, our summer vacations in Colombia consisted of like 6 to 8 weeks.
And how old were you when you did that?
What was I, like 12?
Yeah, just about.
12.
Oh my
And
gosh.
his name was Mickey. And he was the coolest little guy, and he would just like latch onto my arm. He was maybe like that tall.
Oh
latch
my
onto
gosh.
My arm. But he loved us. He knew he was like our monkey, so he'd just hang out.
And then did Mickey live there when you went home, or?
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't get the papers to bring him to the U.S.
Yeah.
Kind of difficult when you buy something out of the black market.
So they put him in like a little stroller or something going through.
So he stayed in Colombia for a few years, and then my uncle owned he managed some farmland. So eventually what happened is he ended up in the farms.
Wow.
And I think he eventually
Just
escaped and went back
Escaped
into
and back in the wild. Now, are there monkeys kind of roaming around in Colombia?
No.
No?
Not like down here where you could go onto one of these creeks or like rivers and they just jump out the trees,
Yeah.
So I'm sure they are in more like interior Colombia and
Right.
what is it, the rainforest and stuff, but not in that particular area.
Yeah, that's a great story, and I think that's more than like my favorite animal is a rhino, and that would be
I think that'd be tough to
significantly
get,
challenging
yeah.
to have. But that's awesome that you have that story from childhood. A lot of people say, of course, you're a product of your environment, and like you've made a product with a monkey. That's your favorite animal that you had. So that's an awesome experience. So backing up real quick, so your dad gave you the idea, this is 2018, to make a sauce, and then how quickly the light bulb go off immediately and you went to the kitchen, or what was the next step of that?
So the next step is I was still living in Miami. I had just moved back, and then I was planning to move back to Orlando. So we moved back to Orlando, and I just got into the kitchen one day. I finally said, "Let me start making this." Made a couple test batches, and then I used to work at Universal as well as
cool.
as an entertainer for Halloween Horror Nights. So I just brought the bottles and I just kind of handed out to the cast, and it's like,
That's
"Hey, what do you guys
awesome.
think?" And they're like, "Well, you got to make this stuff for real." I was like, "I will."
Yeah.
So then 2019, we didn't really do anything, and then towards the end of 2019, we had a connection with a co-packer, and we had a meeting set up for February of 2020.
Oh gosh.
You know,
And then how many sauces did you have at that point?
it was just a mango habanero.
Just the mango habanero, which is that evolved into one of these today?
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's
Awesome. We'll
evolved
get to
into
it.
this. So after, obviously COVID happened, we kind of axed it and didn't revisit it until the end of 2020 when I was
Wow.
living in Arizona and found a mom and pop co-packer that kind of guided me through everything out there in Arizona.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so was it so then what happened after that? You made the sauce and you went back to all the folks that had supported you before?
After
After you made it, you had the co-packer make it.
So
yeah.
no, yes, I had people that had been waiting on it, but for the most part, I just went straight to Instagram. Launched it January 10th of 2021.
Okay.
Which is my birthday. So
happy
just that
birthday
way-
then.
thanks. That way I don't have to remember multiple dates.
That's good.
So yeah, we just launched it, and then I just started kind of like promoting it on Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook, and that's how our brand started.
That's
And when we
awesome.
launched, we actually launched with the two sauces. So it was the mango habanero and the honey mango habanero. So we were just like, let's add honey to it. Let's give our customers two options and kind of see how we scale from there. So it was basically the base is the mango and it's the same exact sauce, just a third honey. So it's the only
Gotcha.
difference in between
Yeah,
the two.
that was 100% Eric's idea. It's like, hey, dude, let's add some honey to it. And I'm not a big honey guy.
Sure.
So, but
I'm the sweet one.
I'm down to try something.
Yeah.
So we did it, and I was like, okay, yeah, we're doing
We're
this.
doing that?
Definitely.
That's awesome. So then your official, unofficial launch was with the two sauces.
Yes.
And then you're getting out there and promoting it. And did you have a moment when you're like, I think this is going to be a hit? I mean, obviously, if you got to that point, you were proud of it and happy of it. But was there a moment when you started getting this feedback that you really had something?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think once we launched our second two sauces, our agave jalapeno and pineapple habanero ghost, I think that's when I started realizing, okay, we got something going. We've found something with specifically with our honey mango habanero and our agave jalapeno that we had a special brand. We had a special
Yeah.
sauce, and I'm sure we'll cover this down the line, but it's not so much focused on burning your face. It's,
Yeah.
we consider ourselves an intro sauce, something that the whole family can enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I think when people ask us what identifies you guys
Yeah.
as a brand, I go back to those two sauces.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like who we are. It's that flavorful, that sweetness
Yeah.
with that nice little punch.
Yeah. I love that.
I think for me, it was really when, like he said, when we brought out the two other sauces, the agave and the pineapple, and then we actually started doing live events. When you start seeing the reactions of
Yeah.
people in person in that time, giving you that feedback right there. And then when you start seeing a lot of the repeat customers showing up that they're purchasing online, and that's really when I realized, okay, we're on to something
Yeah.
here.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I love that with being a sauce for everyone at the table, with the background of, learning that your dad, you were literally at dinner table with family. He's like, oh, you should do hot sauce. So, that just fully comes back around with all of that, which is, you love to see that. So how did you go about, agave is a pretty unique ingredient, and we can talk about the first sauce we have is agave jalapeno.
That's
is that
gonna
right?
be-
So
yeah.
how did you go about kind of creating that?
So that one came to me in a dream.
A dream. Okay. Tell me about
This
it.
is poetic.
So no, the truth behind this is this was supposed to be because during COVID I did move to Arizona. I was a pharmaceutical rep, so I lived in Phoenix for a year.
Okay.
And I was never a big tequila guy until I lived there, and I realized that
You had good tequila.
Yeah, there's very good tequila out on the West, and
Yeah.
it goes beyond your typical everyday tequilas. So I wanted to come back and create something that had that kind of nod to my time over there. Embrace the agave, which is where tequila comes from.
Right.
But the original idea for this was to create a sauce that could be used in a margarita.
Like physically in it, not
Yeah.
as a rimmer, not as a
No, like
shot next
you're
to
just
it.
gonna pour some into
Okay.
your margarita directly. And so I created it thinking of what I'd want, and it came up to what it is now, which is not our margaritas. The one that we promote in our margarita is gonna be our pineapple habanero Ghost.
Interesting. Now,
and
did
I
you
was-
like spicy drinks?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Okay.
I anywhere I go, I said, give me a spicy drink. So
Spicy drink.
Spicy margaritas, love it.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
spicy beers, love them. Whenever I could find one, that's what I'm going for.
That's perfect.
I believe spicy beers is the next wave
Yeah.
of beer in this country.
Yeah.
So
So you started out on a mission to make a sauce for margarita, and then how did it wind up?
it just I threw it together how I pictured it in my mind to be, and this is what came out. And when we taste this, like, okay, this is not what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
This is so much better than what I thought it was gonna be.
Now, did you think with the margarita angle to that, were you thinking of, I'm going to make a sauce that is a mixer for a margarita, or am I going to make a hot sauce? So it wasn't even really a hot sauce, right? It was more of a mixer.
So yeah, it's just an addition. Yeah,
Addition,
I mean
yeah,
not so
yeah.
much a mixer, but just something that you could
You could put in it.
Yeah.
But like thinking of the margaritas, okay, that's first on the list of
Mm-hmm.
how I want my sauce to be utilized.
absolutely.
So
yeah.
that's awesome. So
Sometimes you go to a bar and you'll ask for a spicy margarita, and they just have regular table hot sauce that they just dash in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, let's get something. Let's create something that's made for this.
yeah,
And that ended up being the pineapple one.
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, let's get into the agave jalapeno if we want
We're gonna
to
crack
try
one
that.
on.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's
Right.
do it. I'm gonna get you a little. Let's use the blue ones because it features our blue monkey.
Oh, perfect.
I gotta say, I love this. I love all of our sauces, but this one's it's probably our most popular one.
Yeah.
And once we get into the flavor profile, we can talk a little bit more about this. But it's just such a cool sauce.
Shake it, shake. If you want me to sing, I can sing for you too.
No one wants that. Please.
All right, so for those that haven't tried this, our sauces are fairly thick. We use twice as much produce compared to other sauce companies. Like our co-packers, like you're at like 60% over what you should be using. I was like, that's fine. This is what it's supposed to be. So
Yeah. No, that's
we're
great.
not about following a specific script for what something's supposed to be like. That's why it's stanky sauce and not just hot sauce.
Sure. Look at that. Great texture.
Yeah.
Great color.
Smell it. It's
You get the agave and the jalapeno, and two, that's agave from the Southwest, but also you think of green Southwest sauce.
Yeah.
On burritos and quesadillas. All right, here we go. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, guys. So much flavor.
So I always say the first ingredient that you get right off the back is going to be that sweetness from
Yep.
the agave.
That's spicy. I forget sometimes how.
Well, if you start from zero and then you're just like boom right on your tongue. Wow.
I also haven't eaten anything today,
Yeah.
so
As the flavor kind of starts developing, you get more into what I like to call that spicy garden. So you get into those poblano peppers,
Spicy garden, I love that.
green bell peppers, a little hint of cilantro and lime, really give it that kind of fresh element.
Yeah.
Which some of those ingredients, when we do these events and people are just burning their face off, we tell them come back for that because the agave kind of like calms down the tongue and everything else kind of just like cleanses your palate a little bit. And then that the spice at the end is actually a blend of serrano pepper and jalapeno. And I never realized how much I enjoyed the serrano pepper. But it's got
I
some.
can taste it. Yeah,
it's got
like
some good flavor.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like a green like pico. Like it almost has a kind of salsa taste.
Yeah.
Like but it's a hot sauce,
Yeah.
which is I think just amazing.
We actually started bottling it in a 13 ounce because people would just use it as a chip dip. They'll get the
yeah.
Tostitos or their chips and just kind of use it as a dip.
As a dip. Yeah, we've pulled it out many a taco and quesadilla nights, and I look at it, I'm like, was this bottle new when we started? And it's like gone. I mean, it's delicious, which is such a testament to how tasty it is.
Mm-hmm.
So agave, jalapeno, serrano, and then what else did you say?
Poblano.
Poblano is in
and
there too.
a little,
Okay.
little hint of cilantro. A little
Right,
hint of
because people
cilantro.
have that cilantro.
And people with that cilantro, that soap
Soap,
flavor
yeah.
thing, they pick up on it right away.
Do they really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Really?
for
Because
me,
I could taste it a little bit, but
Yeah.
not.
It was. I made sure that there wasn't too much cilantro in there because I personally don't really like cilantro. So, but I love the flavor that it adds as a complement to meals.
Yeah.
Growing up, my mom puts cilantro.
Cilantro on everything.
Cilantro. I was like, no, mom, not so much cilantro, please. So, but it gives it the little bit of oomph that it needs
Yeah.
in it. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Really, really delicious. Anything you want to add
Thanks.
to that?
No.
Oh yeah,
We nailed it. I
Yeah.
love that sauce. It's great.
yeah. It's really fantastic. So, how do you feel that your branding has influenced your sauce or your perception of just what people think of the brand? Is there any thoughts on that?
So I would say, we're really an introductory sauce, like Eddie mentioned earlier. And I think part of with what you see with the brand and the Smiling Monkey, it's very inviting. And that's one of the things that we wanted to do. We want people to be able to feel comfortable approaching a hot sauce, because a lot of hot sauces out there and a lot of people have a stigma of what a hot sauce is,
Right.
and they're super scared of it.
Right.
But not only do you see the Smiling Monkey, but when you actually taste the sauces, it's just very inviting.
Yeah, makes you feel good, and it's not a skull and crossbones with the snake coming out of the skull and
Correct.
the head on fire and all sorts of crazy stuff.
And like with this one specifically, I love using this to actually cook. So I'll use it as a marinade. I'll use it in anything that I'm kind of cooking with. The honey mango is the one that I'll put on anything, but this one's just so great to kind of prep things with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I took my degrees in marketing, so I took on, and it was very intentional, what I call the cereal box approach. So you go down the cereal aisle. Every cereal is this crazy, fun, vibrant character, and for the most part, the kids don't care what it is. They go for the character. And this is what we wanted. We wanted something the whole family can enjoy, from the children to the parents, grandparents, crazy Uncle Eddie when he comes over for dinner. This is supposed to be for everybody. So that was kind of like my branding approach to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just kids that see stuff and pick it off on the shelf, like everyone. That's what I've said time and time again is like your sauce has to be good, and then but someone needs to buy it. And when you're I've seen you guys at shows and we've talked a lot, but at a show people come at your table, they're there for that. You can try it, you can talk about it, you can really sell it on them. But as you grow, like your percentage of sales of you being in front of people are going to be just astonishingly small. So you have to rely on your branding and your approachability and in grocery stores and small markets and stores like that. So it's fantastic that you've recognized that from the get-go, that it needs to be good so people can buy it that first time, then they try it, and then the branding for them is they love the branding, but then they're going off the flavor and how they use it, and they use a bottle every time they cook dinner.
And one of the things at these events is people will just walk up to our tents and be like, hey, I don't know what this is, but the monkey caught my attention. I need to know more. And 9 times out of 10, they'll buy. Our conversion rate when people just walk up not knowing anything about the actual
it's
sauce,
good.
it's very good.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what question I like to ask is, what brands kind of outside of the hot sauce community have inspired you or, given you kind of direction of how you want to take what you're doing?
Well, we both have a history and a background working for Disney. So for us, that's a big company that really kind of influenced kind of what we're doing, especially when it comes to obviously having a cute character on your bottles, but from a customer service perspective as well. But I would say some of the other ones would be like Coca-Cola.
So I have my Mount Rushmore of brands: Disney, Coca-Cola, Red Bull, and Nike.
And you've worked for them, or there's just your heroes?
Those are the brands that
Got it.
I want us to be the Red Bull of the hot sauce world.
Awesome.
That's what I want.
That's a great goal. I love it. You guys can get there. I mean, your sauces are great. Your branding's great. So that's really cool. What other things do you feel that you do to really stand out from the pack? And we'll jump back to the hot sauce community. Is there anything that you do, and you don't have to reveal any secrets, of course, but is there anything that you feel you do that really kind of pushes the needle on what you're doing with hot sauce?
Yeah, it's our engagement with the community, our engagement with just people in general. You know, we say Stanky Sauce is intended to celebrate the importance of being bold and standing out. That's from our mission statement and everything. And it's, you know, we really want to build that connection with somebody, anybody, and really help them kind of embrace who they are and move forward in life. We talk about feeding adventure, which is our tag is Feed Adventure. And it's about, you know, taking that step forward, doing something new. An adventure doesn't have to be a physical adventure. It could be a mental or intellectual or spiritual, whatever you want it to be. In our case, you know, we're saying Feed Adventure. It really is.
Yeah,
Tasting
I
it,
love that. I love that. Yeah.
Try this one. Then a couple months later, try this one. Then try this one. Build your tolerance with us. Go on that adventure with us. Let us be a part of that. So we want to engage with people. We're very, like Eric said, customer service from Disney. We're very much people persons type. So I think that's what kind of sets us aside. It's not just like, hey, try this. We're going to burn your face off, you know? No, try this. Okay, I'm very proud of you. And I tell people all the time, like, I'm not a hot sauce person. It's like, try this one. It might burn their face because they have no tolerance. But I tell them, I'm very proud of you for trying something new. And I think a lot of people need to be told that there's little wins in life and you need to be applauded for that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, you know.
I think one of the other things is the way we go back to our marketing and the way we use bright colors. We attract people's attention because a lot of the times when you go and you see some of these events or some of these other companies, they use darker colors. So you see a lot of the black and the whites, which sometimes tends to just kind of blend into each other. And then you see this bright yellow tent with a big purple monkey right up top. So being able to utilize the colors is a big part. And then, of course, what's the experience when they come and taste? That's a big part of us. We want to give our customers an experience when they come up to the Stanky Tent. The Stanky Tank. I kind of like
Tank.
that.
All right, there we go. We got
even
something new.
Yeah, at night when we do our night markets, our entire setup is lit up, and we like to call it the electric jungle. But it's one of those things that's kind of sets us aside as being able to provide a really unique experience, although they're sampling hot sauces. But what does that kind of feel like when they leave our tent?
Yeah.
Or our tank?
Your tank, the Stanky Tank. I like it. So that's goes perfect to my next question. And how do you go about your label design? I know we have Mickey here. That's the kind of the star of the show, which I love. And I love that I know the story and our viewers will know the story now behind that because I didn't know that. How do you go about label design? And I know you have some fantastic designers you work with. So can you talk about that?
So one thing, Mickey was the name of the monkey from Colombia. His name is actually Stanky.
Oh, his name is Stanky.
Yeah. And
okay.
then this one, the gorilla is Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank. Okay.
Yeah.
So Stanky and Uncle Frank. Mickey is like in the past.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mickey
Awesome.
was the inspiration.
Inspiration.
Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, tell me about how do you go about, you have Stanky as the core here, and then how do you build off of that? Just in terms of design and...
So just to give a little background on the design. So one thing you need to know about all of our sauces is each bottle is a piece of art. And we feel like food and art go together. So actual artists work on all of these labels. We're just fortunate enough that we grew up in a community where we know people from every walks of life. So one of the designer of the monkey is a buddy of mine since middle school, same middle school where I got my nickname.
Yeah. So he was really on board.
Yeah.
He's
so
like, this is dream come true.
we wanted to take a street art approach to some of our artwork, and he is one of the biggest muralists in Austin.
Wow.
So he goes by Yuloang. And he kind of, if you go through Austin and you see a mural, chances are 1 out of every 3 is going to be one of his murals.
Wow.
If you into MLS, he does all the tifos for the Austin FC, right?
MLS, Major League Soccer.
Yeah, Major League Soccer. So he's commissioned by the city. He's just an amazing artist. So he created the labels for the honey mango habanero, the mango habanero. He created the monkey. My best friend, which is part of the same group, created the pill logo. Now this pill, like Stanky,
Yeah.
something that I've been drawing in my notebook since middle school.
Really?
Of some sort of it, like never knew what it was gonna be. But it, if you look at it, it's kind of like there's a continuation that kind of just keeps on going around. It's just, for me, it's just life. It's the big circle,
Yeah.
although it's in an oval form. So, and there's a little nostalgia to the logo as well. But he nailed it when I was like, hey, this is what I want. He's like, oh, bro, I know what you've been drawing that in your notebook. I got you. So, we just kind of put it together. Chris, who did the logo, also did the agave jalapeno. He did the solar flare. Then we have David Padilla which used to work for Eric at Disney. He did the pineapple habanero ghost. Tiffy Paints, she's an artist, muralist, and tattoo artist in Orlando. She did the pumpkin spice ghost and the nice little ghoulish version.
Yeah, I love that.
And then we have Doodles by Doodly. She is another artist out of Orlando who did the Florida Sunshine Barbecue logo. So again, these are pieces of art that are created by these artists. They are all very proud of each one of these,
Yeah.
and we're very proud to have them. So we're always looking for someone new to kind of bring in
Yeah.
and do something like that. I forgot the rest of that question.
Yeah,
He
no,
just
that
went
was
off on a
great. No,
tangent.
I was really drawn into that. But what I love about it is, I knew obviously you had artists that you'd worked with, but what's amazing is they've captured that Feed Adventure spirit. They're different artists, so they have a different outlook on it. But between you and them, you've been able to keep it all looking like a cohesive brand,
Yes.
which is super. Obviously, you two know that, but super important for promoting a brand, growing a brand that people can see. Like, they recognize Stanky now, like, oh, that's Stanky, and they'll come to trust that at home with sauces that they're eating, as I'm sure you have new sauces down the line that will come out and things like that. But that's really remarkable to have the different artists. And what a great way to keep spreading their art and kind of have it go in perpetuity, because, someone can make a really nice piece of art and, okay, it's really cool that they painted on this canvas and it's, hanging up in your house, but only people that come to your house can see it, which once again, that's got its own place and that's kind of cool. But having artwork that's on a bottle and you're selling, hundreds and thousands of bottles, that's like artwork that's moving into, other people's houses,
Yeah.
which I think is so cool for a single person, a very low investment of, a $10, $12, $15 bottle of hot sauce. And they have a piece of art that's on their counter. Cause I know, we've heard critiques before with, kind of, I'll say like old school hot sauces that, maybe have unsavory things on the label and things like that. And it's like, we got small kids at home. The sauce might be fine, but I don't want that on my counter. I don't, but having sauces that are a work of art to look at, and then, another work of art to taste, that's just really, really fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say the funny thing is that when we originally started doing this, each one of the sauces was going to have a different monkey on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like Uncle Frank, that's on the barbecue sauce,
Yes.
was initially supposed to be on the pineapple one. But then we realized very quickly that that's kind of a pain in the neck.
To draw a
and
new
a
one
huge
and-
hassle. And we have some very interesting looking monkeys in our database right now. But we realized that if we put the same monkey, different colors, people will start to get to understand the branding. They'll know that the monkey's there, and then they can distinguish each one of the sauces differently by which color is on the label.
And do you think the colors, do you have some corresponding with the fruit or the peppers, or?
Yes and no. And just another kind of little thing. There's a story behind each one of these pieces of art that comes from Disney. I mean, the storytelling ability, and we want to make sure that there's a story in everything. That's not
Yes.
just like, oh, this looks cool, right?
Yeah.
So, I gave a story to the artist and said, this is kind of what I want. And I know that I'm not the easiest person to work with. I have
not.
a vision. I have these visions.
Confirmed.
And then it's someone's job to bring my vision to life.
Yeah.
I think for the most part at this point, Chris, who does a lot of art, and he's the one who kind of puts the labels together for us, he understands me very well. and he also does our Christmas cards. If you've never seen our
Oh,
holiday
cool.
card, he's working on this year's. But the colors, yeah. So purple's my favorite color. So flagship, that's who we go with. Again,
The main stanky's the purple.
the main
Yep.
stinky. The orange for the honey, kind of went along with that. The blue, although blue agave, so
Yep.
that kind of just went along. So that
Yep.
kind of throws some people off. It's like, oh, why isn't it a green monkey?
Green.
I was like, well,
Right.
there's that.
And it also contrasts very well with the
Oh,
green
yeah.
color
Green
of
and
the
blue,
sauce.
yeah,
Oh
they're-
yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Pineapple with the yellow. And then, it kind of just went off on the other ones. Not so much like, obviously the teal, there's no, but we wanted to make the ape teal.
Teal. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's kind of to him. This one kind of just, this was just cool. I just love
Yeah,
this guy.
that one's awesome.
And then this is just the Solar Bears logo,
Right.
on there. So, but yeah, there is, there's a little bit of something that goes into everything.
Yeah, I love just after just chatting for a few minutes here, how much purpose you guys put into every single sauce with color, name, all that. I think that's fantastic. So the next sauce we have here is a honey mango habanero.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So now this one's my personal favorite.
Okay.
Not only because I came up with putting the honey in it, but it's just
Green.
the sweetness behind it it's just such a good sauce.
Now this was, refresh me again, this was one of the originals?
Yeah.
Okay. And because you have the sweet tooth. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said, okay, Eddie, like this green agave is great.
But we need to change things up a little bit.
Yeah,
the orange
I
one.
smell the honey. Oh, I just touched it to my face.
Yeah, me too.
It's got to be a party foul. See some little chunks. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Ding, ding.
So again, with this one, right off the bat, honey.
Yeah.
You get that sweetness. So it is a third honey. Mm-hmm. But then you get some of that mango flavor. And then the habanero just comes in right at the end and kind of ties it all together.
With like the gentle ice picks. Yeah.
You do start to pick up on some of the other flavors like the onions and the carrots
Yep.
in there, but the honey does mask a lot of those other produce that we put in there. So it is very honey forward, but it adds such a good dimension to the sauce, and it's really great. So if you like spicy breakfast on your eggs in the morning, this goes fantastic. We really do promote it as our chicken wing sauce because the honey really does hold on. And again, it's got
Oh,
a nice thick
grips to the
corn.
wings.
Yeah,
Awesome.
very nicely. I'm trying to think of what else.
Pizza.
Oh, pizza. Oh, pizza is my favorite.
I'm like, this order pizza right now.
Just
Start putting it on.
shatter
Yeah.
with the pizza.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's the honey, and I mean, obviously, you know the sauce very well, but really fantastic flavor profile. And what you were mentioning earlier, Eddie, about putting all the veggies in here, and the co-packer saying, well, we're not breaking the law here, but we're not really following the book on. You're like, no, trust me, this is it.
There's
This
no
is
book.
this is the drip.
Something about Stanky as a brand and as us, we never really follow the book. We
Yeah.
kind of just go as we feel that it should be, and then kind of learn our lessons down the line. But yeah, we never really follow the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We feel like, I have no culinary experience. I'm not a chef. But when you go to school for something, you kind of follow what you've learned, and there's a specific blueprint to everything. And someone could break it, right?
Yeah,
And the more people that break it, excuse me,
yeah,
the more people that break that, the more we evolve just in general
Yeah.
as humans, So if no one's out there kind of testing the limit and breaking, who knows, all this equipment on this table wouldn't exist.
Right.
So everybody just needs to keep on going out there, feeding a venture and just breaking the law. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. No.
Breaking the law
you
responsibly.
heard it from him right here.
Not the legal law, just the laws of whatever.
the soft book, the soft rule book.
You
It's like
understand what
it's
I'm
like a
saying.
bass player in a band. As long as they kind of know as long as they know what's going on and they really know what they're doing, they can kind of bounce around the notes. And I think being just slightly off axis with what you're doing is a way to move forward. So you spoke of a dream you had with sauces and design. Where else do you draw inspiration from when you're creating your sauces?
So I think a big portion of where we get it, and I know that this is very true for the mangoes and the pineapple one, is really our culture. So I don't know if we're gonna get super deep into it, but mango is a huge part of being in Miami, and also a big part of our Colombian culture too. Mango habanero has always been one of his favorite
Yeah.
pairings.
It's hard to
my
mess
favorite.
up.
It really
and you can
is.
really take it to the next level. Yeah.
And I say it like everybody has a mango habanero, and it's such a delicious flavor combination, and each one's so unique that if you like it, definitely try every company's
Right.
mango habanero. But one thing with ours is just it really was a reflection of our culture, and we really wanted to showcase that through the sauce. But it's really sometimes we even go to these events and we try someone's sauce, and it really inspires us because there's some great hot sauce makers out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I love where things are going, and people are just changing the game and the way people really play with those flavors. But, you know, growing up with in a Latino household, mom was always cooking and we were always in the kitchen with mom. So some of the ingredients were a little different than what you're used to, but we always loved experimenting and trying new things. So fruit, as you noticed, most of our sauces are very fruit-based because we ate a lot of fruit growing up. But again, it's part of our culture and our heritage, and how we grew up is really what inspires our sauces.
So you ready for story time with Eddie?
Yeah. Yeah. Lay it on me.
Mango naturally was our flagship for many reasons. A lot of folks it's mango habanero. Everybody needs to have a mango habanero. But going back to our Colombian roots, in the city my mom grew up in, Barranquilla, Colombia. So my mom's one of 12, so big family. We're one of 30
Wow.
cousins. And when that city was developing, a lot of the elected officials of the city wanted to do something different in the city to make sure that no one would go hungry. So they went and they planted mango trees throughout the whole city.
Wow.
And mango trees, you'll have it in the middle of the road, in the median, like
Everywhere.
it's a free for all. So
Still.
to this day,
Yeah.
I was just there this summer, and you'll see them they fall to the floor. Here in the U.S., if someone sees a mango on a tree, they're quick to grab it because it's, I got
a mango,
Over
yeah.
there, it's like mango is
like a
like
weed.
water. Yeah, it's everywhere. So
And the whole idea was that if you were hungry, you could just grab it off a tree and you wouldn't have to.
the
I love
homeless
that.
could go. No one's gonna fight you. You don't have to be sneaky about it. You see a mango, grab it. Everybody has their little makeshifts like grabbers.
Little grabber.
You'll see them, and then people sell it on the street. You know.
Oh my gosh.
There's these awesome carts. This was our favorite thing going. It's like we get to Colombia. Okay, we need to stop by the empanada place and by the mango place. A mango, slice it up. Some salt, pepper, some lime juice, shake it up in a little bag. There you go for a quarter. I mean, this is back in the day. Now it's like $1, right? Which is still not that bad, right?
Yeah.
But then you have your fresh mango in a bag, and it's so culturally and for our history, mango is very important. And that I always love to tell that story because it's a cool story for someone.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Any other ingredients that really kind of jump out? I know the agave, your time in the Southwest. Do you have any in your entire lineup here? Any other ingredients you think that are special or anything?
Not as special as that one.
Well, yeah, that's really special.
Yeah.
I would say we do use a lot of carrots, and we use a lot of bell peppers as well. But I think one of our biggest things, and this is what I talk to people about, is we try to be very intentional with how we use our ingredients. Because you noticed too in the first two that you tried, and you'll notice them down the line. You can pinpoint every single ingredient that we put in there. But my favorite one is with the ghost pepper sauce. I think just playing with the ghost pepper itself was a lot of fun. Sometimes when you get a ghost pepper, people are really just trying to hurt you, and some ghost peppers can really mess you up. But, being able to experience the ghost pepper for what it's intended to be, I think was a really cool ingredient that we used with the pineapple one. And somehow the pineapple just kind of balances those flavors very nicely. And then once we get down to the barbecue sauce, I'll talk a little bit more about those ingredients. But using orange and datil pepper were very important to us because I always say that that's a tribute to our home state of Florida, that barbecue sauce. And I can dive more into it once we try it out.
That's true. The orange is for that, definitely. Yeah.
It was really kind of so without spilling the, I'll say, stinky tea. Is there any other peppers that you guys have in the works that you're thinking about coming up with sauces or experimenting with?
Oh, yeah.
Any that are kind of sticking out?
We've messed around with Reaper.
Uh-huh.
That's definitely another one. Chile de árbol. Fresno peppers. Those are all different things that I've used. I'm a habanero guy.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, you have habanero and everything. I just think habanero
It's
is
good.
a versatile pepper.
Yeah.
It has just a nice balance of like that heat, that flavor, that
Especially
fruitiness.
for us trying to be an introduction sauce, I
Right.
think the habanero it has the right amount of spice to
Right.
it. But yeah, we've played with Scotch. I think Scotch bonnet for me right now is my favorite one that I've played. There's so much flavor in a Scotch bonnet. The heat is fantastic, and it can just go so well with those fruit-based ingredients
Yeah.
that we really like to play with. So there's something really cool coming down the line.
It's
but-
really funny that how Eric's the perfect example of what our intention as a brand is, help someone build their tolerance. Because I've been the hot sauce guy and
Okay.
not him. So hearing him now talk about Scotch bonnet, which for people in the spicy community, Scotch bonnet might not be like the craziest, but
Yeah.
for your average person, it's a very
Yeah.
spicy pepper. So to see him, like, we ate one live, or we did a video. We split it, and he ate a piece of his, and I ate half of mine. And just to see him actually feed adventure and do that,
Yeah.
and now have where he can taste these peppers for more than just being something that burns your face.
That's one of our big things too, and we're talking about the ingredients that we put in there. So Eddie's the spicy guy. I'm more of the flavor guy. I don't love spice and peppers just straight up, but I will always bite if we're playing with a pepper. I will always bite into that pepper. I regret it sometimes later on.
Have you done that with a Reaper?
Not yet.
Not yet,
Not
okay.
yet. Not
well,
yet.
we just
No,
got
actually, didn't I do I did the Reaper mash. I think
yeah
it was.
we tried. I don't know what we tried, but he just got two Reapers from Ed Curry this past weekend.
did.
they're at his
Okay, that's
house.
awesome.
But one of the big things is I want to make sure that I get to taste it, because when we talk about me being the flavor guy, I want to make sure that all of those peppers are really showcased and shine in our sauces. What I tell people is the spice is there with us, and you're gonna get the spicy, but really those complementary flavors are what shine within our sauces. And I really do want the flavor of this pepper to really be one of the big focal points.
Yeah. So I want to jump back actually, because we glossed over it, I think, faster than I realized. So you're the hot sauce guy. He's the flavor guy. How did you rope him into this? Thanks for listening to The Hot Sauce Show. Be sure to follow us here and on socials to stay up to date on future episodes.